football is standing at the edge of its most dramatic transformation ever. And by the time 2026 fully arrives, the game the world grew up loving will feel both familiar and completely reborn. Because this is not just another chapter in football's long history. This is the moment where tradition collides with technology, where passion meets precision, and where the sport begins to evolve faster than at any point before, as modern football shifts from being a contest of pure talent into a complex ecosystem driven by data, intelligence, speed, and adaptability, where players are no longer judged only by goals or trophies, but by how efficiently they move, how quickly they think, how well they press, recover, and react under pressure, with every step measured, every sprint analyzed, every heartbeat monitored, turning football into a living system of numbers, patterns, and probabilities. And yet, at the same time, the emotional chaos of the game remains untouched, because even in a world of algorithms and analytics, football still belongs to moments of magic, moments no machine can predict, moments that make stadiums explode and millions fall silent at once. And as we move closer to 2026, this balance between science and soul becomes the defining theme of the sport's future, shaping the way players are trained, the way matches are played, and the way fans experience football across the globe. Because the footballer of 2026 is no longer just an athlete, but a complete system, a hybrid of physical power, mental intelligence, tactical awareness, and emotional control, trained from childhood with GPS tracking, video breakdowns, personalized recovery plans, nutrition science, and psychological coaching, creating a generation that is faster, stronger, and more adaptable than any before, capable of playing multiple roles within the same match, switching positions seamlessly, pressing relentlessly, and understanding the game at a level that once belonged only to elite coaches, while tactics themselves evolve into fluid, ever-changing structures, where formations exist only on paper, where fullbacks invert into midfielders, center backs step into attacking phases, and wingers become playmakers, creating a constant state of motion that forces opponents to think, react, and adjust every second, turning matches into tactical battles played at extreme speed. And as this evolution unfolds, the global spotlight shifts toward a new generation of stars who will define the era. Players like Mbappe, Haaland, Bellingham, Vinicius, Musiala, and emerging talents from Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Footballers raised in an era of global scouting and instant exposure, where talent is discovered earlier, developed faster, and showcased to the world in ways previous generations never experienced, marking the slow fading of the Messi Ronaldo era not as an ending, but as the foundation upon which the future is built, a future where greatness is shared rather than dominated, and where the idea of a single GOAT may give way to a generation of elite players shaping the game together. And at the heart of this transformation stands the 2026 World Cup, the largest and most ambitious tournament ever created, expanding to 48 teams across 3 nations, the United States, Canada, and Mexico, turning the World Cup into a true global festival of football, filled with new rivalries, unexpected heroes, emotional underdog stories, and moments that will live forever in history, but also raising serious concerns about player welfare, fixture congestion, and physical burnout as football's calendar becomes more crowded than ever before, forcing clubs and national teams to confront a difficult reality that the human body has limits, and that the future of the sport depends not on playing more games, but on playing smarter, managing workloads better, and redefining what longevity truly means, as careers become shorter but more intense, peaks arrive earlier, and recovery becomes just as important as performance, while technology continues to reshape every aspect of the game, from semi-automated offsides and AI-assisted refereeing to real-time tactical data and advanced performance analytics, creating a version of football that is more precise and fair than ever before, yet also sparking debates about whether the human element is slowly being replaced, whether controversy, once the soul of football conversation, is being engineered out of the game, and whether perfection risks removing the chaos that made football beautiful in the first place. And beyond the pitch, football culture itself is transforming at an unstoppable pace as social media, streaming platforms, short-form content, and immersive digital experiences change how fans interact with the sport, turning matches into global events consumed across multiple screens, analyzed instantly, debated endlessly, and relived through highlights, memes, and reactions within seconds, creating a world where football never truly stops, where players become global brands, clubs become media empires, and fans become part of the narrative in real time, while at the same time, the power structure of football shifts away from its traditional centers as Africa, Asia, and North America rise rapidly, producing world-class talent, investing in infrastructure, and building leagues capable of competing with Europe's dominance, signaling the beginning of a truly global era where greatness is no longer confined to a few countries or continents. And yet, despite all this evolution, all this innovation, all this data and money and technology, the essence of football remains untouched, because at its core, the game is still about moments, a last-minute goal, a perfect pass, a heroic save, a mistake that changes everything. Moments that no algorithm can predict, moments that make fans cry, scream, and believe. And that is why 2026 will not simply be remembered as another year in football history, but as the moment the sport stepped into a new age. An age where the past and future collide, where tradition meets transformation, where legends give way to new heroes, and where football proves once again that no matter how much it changes, its heart will always beat for the people who love it. Because when the first whistle blows in 2026, the world will not just be watching a game, it will be witnessing the future of football unfold in real time. As the football world steps deeper into this new era, the changes coming after 2026 will feel even more intense because the game will no longer evolve slowly year by year, but transform rapidly with each season, driven by innovation, competition, and a generation that refuses to play by the old rules. A generation that grew up watching football not just as a sport, but as global entertainment, as culture, as identity, and as business, where young players are discovered through data models before they are even seen by scouts, where AI predicts potential careers before the first professional contract is signed, and where training academies resemble science labs more than football pitches, filled with motion sensors, virtual reality simulations, and personalized development plans designed to maximize every ounce of talent, creating players who understand space, timing, and pressure in ways that previous generations could only learn through years of experience. And as these players rise, the way football is played continues to accelerate, becoming faster, more aggressive, more tactical, with pressing systems so intense that matches resemble controlled chaos, forcing teams to think 3 steps ahead just to survive, while managers evolve into chess masters, constantly adjusting shapes mid-game, reading data on tablets, communicating instructions in real time, and turning football into a living puzzle that never stops moving. And as this evolution unfolds, the role of emotion becomes even more important, because in a world dominated by numbers and analysis, the teams that succeed are the ones that can still harness passion, belief, and mentality, the invisible qualities that decide finals, championships, and legacies. And this is where football in 2026 and beyond becomes truly fascinating, because while technology tries to predict outcomes, the human spirit continues to defy them, producing moments that no algorithm could ever calculate, moments of pressure, courage, and madness that define football's greatest stories. While off the pitch, the economics of the game continue to explode, with clubs becoming global brands, sponsorships reaching unprecedented levels, and new markets reshaping the balance of power as leagues outside Europe grow stronger, attract elite talent, and build leagues capable of competing with Europe's dominance, signaling the beginning of a truly global era where greatness is no longer confined to a few countries or continents. And yet, despite all this evolution, all this innovation, all this data and money and technology, the essence of football remains untouched. Because at its core, the game is still about moments, a last-minute goal, a perfect pass, a heroic save, a mistake that changes everything. Moments that no algorithm can predict. Moments that make fans cry, scream, and believe. And that is why 2026 will not simply be remembered as another year in football history, but as the moment the sport stepped into a new age. An age where the past and future collide, where tradition meets transformation, where legends give way to new heroes, and where football proves once again that no matter how much it changes, its heart will always beat for the people who love it. Because when the first whistle blows in 2026, the world will not just be watching a game, it will be witnessing the future of football unfold in real time. As the football world steps deeper into this new era, the changes coming after 2026 will feel even more intense because the game will no longer evolve slowly year by year, but transform rapidly with each season.